I'm Anna.
And I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Demon Slayer, Season 3, Episode 9. Last episode was amazing. The Mu in Muichiro. Look, we've gotten a few character backstories and a few Hashira backstories, but this came with an interesting twist to it, and that twist came form of the one they called Yuichiro. Yuichiro was a crazy dynamic to an origin story, and I think that you and I both left off at the end of the discussion last episode with the consensus of Muichiro could be his own main character. He could have his own anime.
We could watch a spin-off series of Muichiro.
Yeah,
and it'd be great.
It was great. Descendant of the First breathing technique, and he is one of the chosen ones. What was the line?
For the sake of someone other than yourself, you can exert infinite strength.
Infinite. I am wondering if he is going to defeat Gyoko by the end of this episode.
Yes.
Because the end of last episode, the Demon Slayer kind of way or formula, if I may, is like, if it seems like they're about to die at the end of an episode, they probably won't. What does Gyoko have in his shitty little art pencil case that we don't know about yet?
Well, we're seeing these octopus tentacles. Pretty scary, but Muichiro's handling them quite well because he's a chosen one.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Muichiro is going to defeat Gyoko in this episode. That is my guess and my theory. And then I think by the end of the episode, we will be catching back up to
Tanjiro,
Mitsuri, Tanjiro, Genya, Nezuko, somewhere else.
I hope that Muichiro is able to handle Gyoko by himself and doesn't need Mitsuri to step in to help. I hope Mitsuri's presence is more on Tanjiro's front. Yeah. But then at the same time, I'm like, I want Tanjiro to kick ass too with little to no help other than Genya and
Oh, but I just thought of
Nezuko.
Another good ending for this episode. What if by the end of this episode, Haganeska's done? Like, Gyoko is defeated at the same time, and he's not the one that broke Haganeska's concentration. Haganeska's concentration broke because he was done.
Yes.
Ooh,
I love it. The last thing Gyoko sees in this
before
world
he dies
is true art.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
I love it.
That's my guess.
You ready?
Yeah.
Sweet.
The sound.
The veins in his arm. I'm really in the zone right now. Same. Yes. Oh. Oh.
$10,000 assassins.
Whew. Oh.
Transdermal?
He's not gonna get hit by it. Oh! Did he leave his skin? Yeah.
Oh, so gross. Third person.
If he needed them himself, you know it's shit.
Good timing.
いや、そんなびっくりもしなかった。
You could solve world hunger. No, poison. That dude's ripped.
I know.
どんなすごい攻撃も当たらなかったら意味ないでしょ。思い出せ、煮えたぎる怒りを。
Oh, maggots are coming out of his wound.
の兄に渦が湧き始め、僕は死の淵を見。
Oh, look at all them on his face.
運よく助けられなければ、そのまま死んでいただろう。失っても。体が覚えている。死ぬまで消えない怒りだ。自分を鍛えて叩き上げたんだ。滅ぼすために、奴らを根絶やしにするために。
Look at his eyes.
He's in his serious glory.
Bro, shut up!
霞の呼吸、父の肩、おぼろ。
Whew. Oh my god, he can make mist clones. God, this must be so disorienting.
君はさ、なんで自分だけが本気じゃないと。
Oh, look at his marks.
何が起きてる？感覚が消えた。切られた信じられぬ、とんでもない異常事態だ。子供に私が、この私が。
お前はもう二度と生まれてこなくていいからね。
あってはならぬことだ。おぞましい下等生物めが貴様ら100人の命より私の方が価値がある。選ばれし優れた
One of the chosen.
この下等なウジ虫だ。
Maggot. Oh!
Fury. Oh!
It's like trunks.
もういいからさ、早く地獄に行ってくれないかな。
Oh. I wonder power scaling if Muichiro is the strongest, like hands down, we've seen so far. I mean, it's hard to scale against Rengoku and Tengen,
but he's younger and he's considered the genius.
Yeah.
確固たる自分を取り戻したとき、君はもっと強くなれる。
Your unshakable self. I love that there's more color in his eyes now.
自分が何者なのか分かれば、迷いも戸惑いも焦燥も消え失せ、振り下ろされる刃から逃れられる鬼はいない。
Oh.
時藤殿、
大丈夫、大丈夫。
He's probably tired.
すごく今気分がいいんだ。それにすぐ炭治郎たちのところへ。
顔色がものすごく悪いんです。
The poison.
全然大丈夫だってば。僕の話聞いてる？てくれないか。
私が殺されかけていた時もガン無視でしたからね。泡が詰まってやばい。どうしましょう。
横向きにした方がいいですよ。
Kotetsu.
ボーテ少年のボーレ。
いや、全然死んでないので亡霊じゃないっす。
So not dead. Okay, good.
自分でわからないものな。死んでるのが。
いや、生身なので血が止まんないとこれから死ぬかもしれないですけど。あと、腹の方には 炭治郎さんから預かってた唾を入れてたので
From Renga. Oh my god. Oh.
柱として共に頑張ろう。
Oh. My heart.
無一郎頑張ったな兄さんありがとう火の竜の頭は5本伸びる範囲はおよそ66着だよし一つ分かったぞ敵やろ
Oh! What the fuck?
How is he even running?
What the fuck?
Right when he thinks he's far enough away and it stretches. Is that where the episode's ending? Because that would be insane.
Beautiful.
Look at Nezuko's face! The perfect sword to fight hatred.
Oh.
Look at that.
Just a little.
We were pretty close to getting crushed to death, but you made it. It's okay. Oh, hearing her say she's proud of him. Slip of a girl.
I love the music. Oh! Mitsuri might be one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Hashira or Demon Slayer to watch fight. Just
the sword,
based...
I mean the sword.
The choreography.
The choreography
Yeah.
with that like ribbon sword.
Holy shit, that's so cool. Okay, that was episode 9 of Demon Slayer, season 3. We pulled up the intro, and you can see a bit of Yuichiro's clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, that's so well done.
I just love that these things were so tiny that I wouldn't have even thought anything of it before learning about Yuichiro.
No.
Like, while we were watching the outro as well this episode, I didn't even realize that in the upper right corner of the screen, you see another hand, as if there's another person with Muichiro and his family in the stream. And I'm like, they have all these little things in here that I'm so glad to be able to go back and like be like, oh my god.
It's the perfect type of like Easter egg, or I guess Easter egg's a good term for it, because it's not, we're so focused on like, oh, what's Mitsuri's backstory? What's Muichiro's backstory? And it's something that even if we saw and broke down frame by frame, we wouldn't get anything from it. But the fact that we were given his story and now go back and look at it frame by frame, it makes us appreciate the content so much more. It's the perfect Easter egg. It's so
the right
good.
amount of
so
placement, because it's just there for once you know, you know.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a little nudge. Like,
I love
you know
it.
now. Look, it was there all along.
I think that I was a little worried at the mid-roll because I was like, please, Gyoko, be dead. Like I was so worried that something was gonna happen and Gyoko was gonna have some bullshit art trick. Like, we didn't get a backstory, so I was like, which
right.
I don't need at all, to be honest, because fuck him.
Maybe that's just a Tanjiro thing, though.
Yeah.
Because when maybe that's just a Tanjiro
that's so
thing.
true.
That's when we get the backstories.
He brings that out of.
Well, because do you think Muichiro would have even wanted to know Gyoko? Tanjiro. I almost feel
Stop talking. I almost
feel like
right?
his heart wants to know about these demons as they're dying, and he, in some cases, is very caring when they are disappearing.
Yeah.
So I feel like Muichiro would have been like, I don't care.
I could imagine like Gyoko being like, all right, you've defeated me. Here is my backstory and how I got to be this way.
As he's remembering it. Because
Yeah.
at that time of death, it's like it all floods back into them.
And then Muichiro's like, I'm sorry, nobody asked. Like,
yeah, I lost memories too, but I'm not telling you about it.
yeah, I'm not trauma dumping right now. Fucking loser. Piece of shit.
So
Dumbass. Kyoko.
I was a little bit worried that Gyoko wouldn't necessarily be defeated, but I think my worry it was more founded in the area of like, please make him be dead, because like narratively it felt like the right time for him to be gone, and felt like him to be defeated here felt right. So my feeling of like, oh, please, please, please was more from a please for the narrative and not like please for the sake of this character that's fighting him.
Yeah.
Or the rest of the characters not having to fight Gyoko in a new ultimate form.
Yeah. Well, I think it makes the most sense narratively too, because it's not like this is the only upper rank here. There's somebody that we know is stronger than Gyoko here, and that should be the main end focus and the main battle at the end. Do you think Muichiro is going to have anything to do with the battle versus Hantengu?
So you brought up a really great point about how there is another battle going on here, and it's a stronger character. I mean, Muichiro took down Gyoko. There was only Muichiro fighting him. We have Hantengu, who has Genya, Nezuko, Tanjiro, and now Mitsuri.
Yeah.
Like, the power scaling difference that I'm imagining now between Gyoko and Hantengu, I feel like that alone is giant.
Yeah.
I think that Muichiro's he deserves a rest now.
I completely
he seems
agree.
Really tired.
He beat an upper rank single-handedly and deserves to like have his rest.
An upper rank that every other Hashira or Demon Slayer that has gotten to see that last form has perished.
The best part about that is that like Muichiro never lied. Like that last form was pretty shitty. Like and that was the intention of it, right? It wasn't anything like as crazy or dramatic as we've seen other transformations be. Fucking what? Hantengu's transformation might be like the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
I mean, every iteration of it, like every iteration of Hantengu's transformation has been awesome. And it is so funny that even Gyoko's demon form is not symmetrical.
Dude,
and that there's errors with his
so
faces.
Good.
And I just find that so hysterical and amazing. And I mean, Muichiro could have been lying there just to get under his skin, but he doesn't seem like a liar to me to get under someone's skin, and I feel like it's even funnier and would get under your skin even more by the fact that he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
And I just was like, I knew that was the moment that was like going to completely unravel Gyoko.
I just love that each one of Hantengu's like not even like partial forms. The part he split into all of these lesser versions of himself previously, and
strong.
all of them are better than Gyoko's perfect form. Fucking extraordinary. Demon Slayer, perfect, amazing. Don't change a thing. Never change.
Never change.
I if anybody ever felt like they needed to know Gyoko's backstory. Let's be real. We got it a couple episodes ago in terms, and the confirmation here was Tokito saying the symmetry thing.
Mm-hmm.
He put a lot of work into his art and his pottery in his last life. That was he was a mason or a potter, and that was his career. His family was always like, hey man, you shouldn't paint all these pots. You should focus more on perfecting what is simplest and honing that, much like Zenitsu is able to do.
I feel like there also had to be a fish seafood element to it.
Maybe, perhaps, but there definitely did have to be a fish
Maybe
seafood
he
element
lived
to
by
it.
the water and his parents wanted him to make things to carry fresh catches in, and
Maybe.
he wanted to make these pretty pots that
Yeah,
were
and
symmetrical.
I imagine like he in his head has played up this scenario like, oh, they never let me, do what I wanted to do or like be the person I wanted to do. But in reality, they were like, nah, just make like a good pot first and then you can do whatever you want. And
So try just making something symmetrical.
yeah. Like perfect that first, then you can do whatever you want. I will support you for the rest of your
At
life.
least like perfect your technique.
Yeah, and Gyoko,
ceramics.
and he's just sitting there like, no, I want to do what I want to do. Art. I'm cool. I'm the main
Art.
character. Nah.
I mean, it would probably take me a whole demon lifetime to make a symmetrical vase or pot, because that's like the one art.
Yeah.
I can't do pottery for some reason.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have spent this whole time being a demon practicing, and
Good.
he just his ego was too big.
I like that Muichiro called it a piece of crap. Like I was like, okay, that's cool. Good language.
The timing for that fight was so comedic and so Tokito.
Yeah.
With just the looks on both of them, just kind of looking at each other, and Gyoko being like, "What did he just say?"
Yeah.
The timing was really great for a lot of that.
Perfect matchup. Because like I think that like we could dream of scenarios of like what if Tanjiro was there? What would his interactions with Gyoko be? But I
Wouldn't
wouldn't
have been as maybe fun.
I
Interesting,
would have had
funny.
it no other way. Muichiro is one of my favorite characters. He deserved the win here, and I'm so glad that he got it.
And we were saying that it seems like Mitsuri is going to be the perfect matchup for Hontengu's kind of
the
final
hatred.
form, hatred. And so that's really exciting. I want to talk about Muichiro's like personality here in this episode. It seems like while his eyes are almost maybe brighter and more emotional,
Yeah.
it seems like he still has a hold on the personality that he's had while having amnesia, but in more there's almost like a more sweet softness to still being blunt and matter of fact.
Yeah.
That I really like that we didn't get this giant drastic change in personality upon him like regaining some of his memories.
Yeah.
But it's almost just like he's a little more considerate, a little like sweeter, while still being very frank.
Yeah.
And very like sincere
Blunt.
and true to himself. And I like that there wasn't like a huge change.
There's a line he had that was so great, and I wish I could find
Was it
it.
about the Fury?
It was about how he might have lost his memories, but he never forgot the way he felt, or like something along those lines. And I was like, oh my god, that's so good, because like it happened when he was training, and like the way that he felt, the level that he was pushed to once Yuichiro had died and was killed, and like when he went red in order to kill that demon, like it's like that part of that anger was ingrained into Muichiro, and
This
like
flash,
was a part of him.
this flash, he went red, this flash of fury. I mean, the maggots
Oh my god.
that they like went an extra, it was already really like grotesque and gruesome and bloody and gross when we got the death scene and the last words of Yuichiro and them like and Muichiro clinging to his hand. It was already hard to see. And then for the and how they drew the maggots too. This like it's almost like a still shot with these little movements, and it's so creepy.
I'm just like again appreciating the fact that it was Muichiro going up against Gyoko, because Gyoko had like some abilities that were pretty sick. Like the whole like, oh, you killed these 10,000 fish?
Yeah.
Great.
Transdermal.
But guess what? Their blood's transdermal poison. It can get on your skin and seep through it. And to anybody else, right? That's like, holy shit. I don't want to deal with that. That's terrifying.
I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, that's like a pretty kick-ass move and ability. But it doesn't even fucking matter. There's no gratification that Gyoko gets to feel because of who he's up against.
He just misted it away. He just
Amazing.
blasted it away.
Yeah.
So good. Should we go to the next fight?
No,
No,
I want to talk
we
about one more thing. Kotetsu being
okay,
alive
great,
and
yes.
why. And holy, like, I felt like he was going to be alive with the way that they handled it, but the hilt of Rengoku absolutely, like, killed me. I love that so much, dude. It's so
I love that
good.
too. I think, like, that alone didn't surprise me. Like, once it happened, obviously I wouldn't have guessed it, but once he was like, Tanjiro gave this to me, I was like, that's a very Tanjiro thing to do. What surprised me was Muichiro having, like, a very fond callback memory of Rengoku.
Yeah.
And that's what surprised me. But I thought that was the perfect segue to bringing Mitsuri in at the end of this episode.
Because we know that that Mitsuri was Rengoku himself, right?
Yeah, is it, what is it?
Suguko.
Suguko?
Yeah, I think so.
We could
Suguko.
be wrong. I'm so sorry if we're wrong.
Suguko. That's my best guess, and I'm probably wrong, so apologies. But yeah, I just love that that's gonna happen. It's going to be a thing. It makes this sword and all the work that Haganesuka's putting into this sword mean a lot more to me as a viewer, because it doesn't feel like this sword's going to just be another one that breaks so easily.
It's almost this sword and being given the hilt and that being on this sword is almost like a blessing of not only Rengoku but his father, and Rengoku's the little brother, and that whole family line, almost just like blessing Tanjiro.
So good, so well done. But the fight with Hantengu, I was wondering, once Tanjiro got his eardrums burst and then eaten, I was like, is this going to be like a biblical alive inside of Hantengu situation?
And then we have to like crawl through to get to the little handball that the main body's in. I thought that was going to be the end of the episode. Once the crush happened and it went black, I was like, this is a horribly
I wouldn't
awesome,
have been surprised.
sick
Demon
ending.
Slayer does shit like that.
I know, that's why I was expecting it. I wasn't expecting them to actually bring Mitsuri in and her slice everything up and save the day with Tanjiro, whisk him away and tell him, I'm proud of you, you don't have to work anymore.
Before Mitsuri came in, we watched Tanjiro's foot get demolished. It reminded me of last season when the fingers were bent back.
Why is it that it's almost like I can handle slashes on the body in the show so much more than I can handle how they do broken things, like broken legs, broken fingers, broken anything. I for some reason handle cuts and blood in the show.
You have to applaud
it
though, right? Because in this show, when there's something akin to the foot or the fingers, it hits so much more.
Is it because there's an audio with it too?
No, it think about like MHA, right? Like Deku, or like we watch a bunch of anime.
Like with his fingers.
Yeah, but like, and those are great moments in themselves, and those are more emotion behind what he's using them for.
You're putting yourself.
There's so much brutality behind the force and impact of the injuries in this show. It's so good. With Mitsuri joining the battle, Hantengu had a point to how he was talking to, Genya, Nezuko, and Tanjiro about calling them villains, and they're the real villains. I think it's going to be a really hard sell to try to say that Mitsuri's a villain. Like just look at her, right? She's great.
I'm excited to see how this dynamic actually ends up being, because I don't know how Mitsuri talks to a demon. I don't know how she interacts with a demon. Like, I feel like Muichiro, I could totally like I'm totally believable that it's a very, like, cold, matter-of-fact, like, distance, like, comedic energy, especially with Gyoko being his partner in that interaction.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it's going to be like with Mitsuri, especially because of the element that you're bringing up about how hatred views the Demon Slayers as the villains here.
Yeah.
As the people that are hurting a defenseless, weak little being that is in his hand.
Yeah. If there was one character in this entire universe that could somehow turn a demon onto the good side, it would be Mitsuri doing like a flip in front of the moon.
The moon. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I just realized? Shinobu comes in like this beautiful butterfly with the moon in the background, and they do the same thing with Mitsuri. I'm like, this is gorgeous.
I would love to see them interact more.
Mm-hmm.
Shinobu and Mitsuri. You know what? I really kind of appreciate the idea of Demon Slayer not reusing and beating characters that are amazing to death. Like, Giyu Tomioka is one of the coolest people alive because he's a real person at this point. But
in our
like
hearts,
there's this like mysticism and like strength and like I don't know, it's coolness, right? That being able to see a character go all out and it's all new information that they're giving you, all their techniques for the first time, and then like just letting them breathe and putting them back on the shelf for a little bit.
You know what? I think that there's an element to it that's, we know how tough, because we've been watching Tanjiro, we know how tough and brutal some of these fights are. So when those characters are reintroduced to us and or their official introduction to us, we have this weight of knowledge of knowing how much they've probably survived.
Yeah.
And how awesome they have to be in the position they're in to begin with. So when Mitsuri runs in here, I already have this awe about her, not only because they're making her moves so graceful and beautiful, and she's a great character design, but because I know, like, she's survived. She's a Hashira.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, that's the whole thing. There's this mysticism to it. You said there was a strength to it. Like, Giyu. Like, if Giyu came in again, like, somewhere, even just to say hi, and it wasn't a fight, there's this weight that he would hold and presence on the screen because we know that he's been off doing this by himself, killing other demons.
And he's still alive. Yeah.
And kicking ass.
Yep.
So there's something about it that I think with Demon Slayer, I think the viewers can have a heavy appreciation of the actual power scaling and difficulty of the fights, which I think we've talked about before, that the fights always really do feel like a struggle and a give and a take, and there is this tension that is there. So yeah,
it's refreshing. It's not a beam struggle that there's narrative behind the beam struggle of back and forwards of like when one gets an advantage and the other doesn't.
Like,
it's
why
not
is
just
it so horribly
powering up?
Yeah, how is it so horribly satisfying that we get these actual injuries that impede or affect movement?
Yeah.
Like when we get Tanjiro's foot getting crushed, we get the realistic sense that this is actually going to impede his movement in the battlefield, running away from this monster, these dragon heads.
It's so cool. It's well done. Quick aside, we were in the car the other day and like just randomly we just started talking about like, remember when Giyu included himself within the letter to the master and like saying that he would also fall on his sword if Nezuko ever killed a human.
Yeah.
So fucking cool,
man. One of the best moments in animation cinematic history was that letter and just the reading of the letter and the contents of the letter. I remember the feeling
so
of when
cool.
we were in that moment witnessing that letter being read.
I getting back to the episode, I don't know if we've like Nezuko had a very specific expression.
That's what I wrote. I wrote really quickly, Nez face when Mitsuri.
But it was like a mix of like hopefulness, relief, and like in awe, like of Mitsuri coming and saving Tanjiro. I loved it.
Like a thank goodness.
Thankfulness. Yeah. Gratitude. It's like when Tanjiro saved one of Tengen's wives, and he was like, Tanjiro Kamado, I'm grateful for you.
Yeah.
You know?
There's still a sadness to it, which I think is like, I feel like hope comes with a realization of your situation and the gravity of it. And so I feel like there is still this sadness layer to Nezuko's expression. This like, please let this. Please. The hope of like, please.
Well, it's like, so if you're like sad and like miserable, desperate, right? And like devastated that this happened, there's the jump from there to relief. Of, oh my god, thank god he's okay. And we got to see the middle part of that jump, right? Like that like journey of expression. So well done.
And it's really great seeing it on Nezuko's face. And I really like that we're seeing an expression from her like this with how they're building this little friendship and respect between Mitsuri and Nezuko that I really, really like. Yeah.
Last thing that I had written down was from earlier in the episode. It was when Muichiro actually chopped Gyoko to pieces. It was so, it's probably just me, but it was so, and you don't know the reference, but there's a specific moment in Dragon Ball Z with the character Trunks.
Which I think you've said Trunks multiple times in reference to Tokito.
Probably. But I've also said it recently for other shows too.
Oh, okay.
But
just really Trunks on the brain.
Yeah, but like I feel like it's warranted. There's like reason behind it. It was so good. I thought like for a second Muichiro was about to put his hand like under his arm and like do a ki blast. It was crazy.
I have no clue what that means.
Yeah. That's all I have, yo.
Yeah,
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.